Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Gemini, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I do appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out and solicit for private readings. I do offer private readings, and the information about that, if you would like to sign up, is found in the About section of my YouTube page. So Gemini, we're going to be doing your general reading today with the Rosebud Tarot and pulling one card from the Elemental Oracle for your overall energy by Stacey DeMarco. So Gemini, I hope you're doing well. It is Mercury retrograde, so I feel as though just intuitively, I feel that might hit Geminis a little bit more awkwardly than it already does, just because Mercury is a planet that's very closely associated with Gemini, and it is the planet of communication. So it's Spirit is saying it's best to be mindful, take care when expressing yourself, especially if it's in a way that you can't take it back. So if it's in an email or a text message, and it has to do with a very sensitive conversation, Spirit is asking you to just take your time. Just take your time, make sure that it's exactly how you want to express yourself. That was channeled message, didn't even pull any cards yet, okay? But that felt like it was important. So, Gemini, I'm gonna pull one card out of this deck. I'm going to shuffle for it. The cards have been thoroughly pre-shuffled, so we're just going to get one card for the overall energy. Okay, I don't think I've gotten this card yet. It's beautiful. It's number 39, which reduces to an 11, so very beautiful life path number. And it's interesting because for an air sign, this is a nice juxtaposition. The word is gravity, and above that it says groundedness. Groundedness. So I think I was kind of picking up on some of that, right? That we're, as an air sign, to be grounded feels counterintuitive, right? When we want to be, perhaps what's going on back here, this kind of neural network, we want to be in the space of the mind, in the space of the contemplative. I never say that word that way, but many people do. So to contemplate, right? That there's this interconnection, and you're capable of seeing that interconnection. But Spirit is asking you to make those connections between what's out there and what's in here. What's out there, what's in here. Having a deep and intimate understanding with animals, insects, synchronicities and signs from Spirit that maybe they don't make any kind of rational sense, but they come from a primal place. Can you access, Gemini, that primal place? Can you access it? Can you inhabit it? Can you revel in it? I'm drawn to a couple things in this card. We do see some planetary bodies, but here is Saturn. Saturn has shown up, I think, in the last 4 readings. In some capacity, Saturn is there. So this is really a time of discipline and restriction and rules and standards and, you know, going by the book. And when you do that, as you can see, all the animals around here, they're all gathering around to listen. So I almost feel as if you're kind of at the nexus or the center of some energetic conglomeration, which is another way of saying like you're the center of like a friend group or your work situation, your work scenario. People are looking to you. for guidance. They're looking to you for, I mean, they're almost, I see this little dog here. He's got his kind of paws up. They're almost clinging to you for answers. Looking to you for wisdom. And there may be a part of you that just is like, can I just lift off and take away? You know, because this represents the kind of earthly realm, but also could be a little bit of the emotional waters, the emotional. So that might feel uncomfortable for you. As it is Mercury retrograde, perhaps you can learn to be more in the flow with it. Pulling 4 cards now for the base spread, 4 cards for the clarifiers. I may pull more clarifiers if I feel like I need to. It's going to be past, present, future, and advice from Spirit. You know, I shuffle and shuffle and shuffle these cards. So many of them have been in reverse, and it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It just is, it's a way for me to read the cards, but I'm noticing, and maybe it's because of the energy, but I'm very well aware of how many cards in reverse are popping up for all the signs. In your past energy, you have double 3s. The 3 of fire in reverse, the 3 of wands, clarified by the 3 of air, the 3 of swords in reverse. So double 3 right off the bat is absolutely a synchronicity. So if you are seeing double 3, triple 3 on license plates, on billboards, on receipts, if it's your age, whatever it is, take it as a synchronicity from Spirit. You know, what does that mean? How is that useful? Well, it just means that your spirit guides are with you. They're trying to communicate with you. When you see that synchronicity, try to remember the very last thing you were thinking. Like if there's something on your mind and you see 3-3 or 3-3-3, what was I just thinking about? Because Spirit wants to draw your attention to that. It's how they communicate. The 3 of fire, 3 of wands in the upright is a card of kind of having chosen a certain direction and then kind of waiting to move or waiting for something to come to you. So you can see this kind of astronaut is kind of waving hello. It's like, it's more like a hello over there. Look at where I am. Where are you? There could be a sense of distance here between you and another person. Is that true? Is there a distance between you that you might want to close? You might want to close that gap of distance. Clarified by the 3 of air, it may be somebody you had a fraught relationship with, very difficult relationship. She's wiping away tears. The 3 of air is the card of heartbreak, sorrow, disappointment. And you got it in reverse. And I don't generally like to see this card in reverse because it kind of shows me like we want to move past it, right? If the tarot is telling a story, and the 4 suits of the tarot, pentacles, swords, cups, and wands, each suit tells its own story. And when we reach the 3 of air, we're trying to overcome a heartbreak so we can move past the 3 into the 4, which is a period of rest and recuperation. So when we're in reverse in this energy, it indicates to me that you're still perhaps struggling with a heartbreak. It's hard for you to move past. And maybe there's this desire to want to close the distance, extend an olive branch. But it's kind of hard. Because you're on your planet and they're on theirs. How are you going to extend that distance, Gemini? This is your past energy. I'm going to pull a card on it. I want to see. How are you trying to bridge the gap? You got the Star in reverse. The Star is the card of Aquarius, and it represents, it's a major arcana card, and it represents healing. I don't think you were successful, at least not yet, at least not in the past, in bridging that gap. That gap still feels like it's there, and maybe you can't wait any longer. This is a card of waiting. Maybe you can't wait any longer and you just have to move on. Kind of breaks my heart for you. I felt like a well of something rise up in me just for a split second. Because you want to heal this, but maybe you don't know how. Maybe your thoughts are getting away from you, right? Maybe the answers are down here and you're just kind of floating. Your thoughts are kind of wreaking havoc, right? The reason I say this, in the present energy, you got the Nine of Air, the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords talks about nightmares, nightmare energy. Swords are all about the thinking mind. It's your element, Gemini. It's all about the thinking mind. Maybe you've just been overwhelmed by scenarios or the possibilities. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I should have said this. I could have said this. Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I do this? Why? Well, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter anymore. You just have to make a decision about what you're going to do. Literally, in this moment, make a decision about how you're going to handle it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be, like, so stuck in this energy. To the point where you're like not even, it's like the thoughts are lingering above you. You're not even looking at them directly. You have to look at them directly. Four of Air in the reverse, another sword sign. You got to get up off your butt. You got to do. You got to act. You got to move. You know, or else these thoughts are, you know, self-fulfilling prophecies. You imagine the worst, everything was fine, and then you imagine the worst, and then the worst happens. It's almost like you caused it to happen. Because our minds are very powerful, right? If you're thinking negatively, that's all you're going to see. What are you so worried about? What is the subject of the worry, Spirit? What's the subject of the worry? Your finances? Ten of Pentacles in the upright, your finances. This card has come out a lot. I mean, finances are definitely something that occupies a lot of people's minds. But the Ten of Pentacles would suggest abundance, prosperity, overabundance almost. So if it's the thing that I asked for clarification, what are you so worried about? You know, are you worried that you don't have enough, that you don't have enough to offer, to give, to save? You don't have anything that can bolster you up, because in this card they're like kind of holding a sheet and he's kind of bouncing on it like a trampoline. You're not able to bounce back from something. This card is in the upright though, so it's almost like, are you in a lack mentality right now where you have a lot but you were hoping for more and you don't know something seems like really, really vast, because now I'm preoccupied with the space, the outer space and the planets and You know, they call this phenomena, it's like a planet, it's like a lens, like a, what do they call it? I am not an astrophysicist, I just play one on TV. There's some phenomenon, just bear with me because this is the story Spirit is bringing. It's like when scientists, they have their telescopes on, their high-powered telescopes, and they look out into outer space and they look to the past, to the deep cosmic past. And they try to photograph and capture that past. Due to the rotational shift of the Earth, the fact that the universe itself is constantly expanding, there is this optical, the word I wanted to say was fallacy. It's a illusion or a fallacy of what is actually there, because the camera has to rotate along with the Earth. If the telescopes are on Earth and Earth is moving, it creates this, what is it called, like gravitational lensing or some effect that causes that effect. That's something that causes that effect. Why this is important, I don't know. Almost as if there's like with your thoughts, because it's like, this is what I was trying to clarify. The harder you stare at your obsessive thoughts about something, the more and more and more it's going to shift and morph and turn into something that it's not. It's going to be skewed. Thank you, Spirit. It's going to be skewed. And that's why groundedness is so, see, and the word is gravity. Groundedness is so important right now, because you have to have a sense of where you actually are in the present moment, as opposed to being in a space of the future worry that may not, it's a future tense that may not even happen. You're worried about a future tense that may not even happen. But the more you think about it, it's like you're almost taking an energetic step towards it. The more you think about it and worry about it, the thing you're trying to avoid, you're simply just walking straight into it. So you have to be really careful at this time. Bring yourself back to a sense of alignment. Bring yourself back to a centeredness. In the future potential, you have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. Somebody on a boat trying to dock, trying to gather all these pots, flower pots in, kind of reaping the reward of a day at sea. Five of Pentacles can be a card of isolation, alienation, being left out in the cold, being alone. Clarified by the generosity of air, which is the Queen of Air, Queen of Swords. Very much in your element, Gemini. I got this card earlier. I feel like it was for the water signs. Fixated on the fact that there's this big, gigantic fortress door behind you, and in this energy, you know, you may have, this is a card of isolation, and we're on one side of the door, and maybe because this energy is now in reverse, it's kind of like, I'm no longer going to keep myself on the periphery. I'm no longer going to isolate myself on the other side of abundance, right? If the universe is anything, it is abundant. I'm not going to shut the door or close the portal or close myself off to the portal of that abundance. right? But the generosity of air, you did get this card in reverse, the generosity of air, the Queen of Swords. She's always concerned with finding the truth of the matter, getting to the heart of something, and not really stopping until she achieves it or receives it, right? So right now, or rather in the future energy, there's going to be, you will have come to a revelation about something, and it's going to really open your eyes to the fact that, number one, you are not alone. That was a part of your projection. You are not alone, and you have so much at your disposal to work with. The whole wide universe, right? When it comes to manifestation and forward thinking, positive thinking. I want to know what it was that you felt isolated from. You got a major arcana, the Hangman in reverse. Hangman talks about a character or person in the upright who is purposefully putting themselves out at a great distance. Remember we were talking about distance? How are you going to bridge that gap? That's literally what the Hangman does. You put yourself at a distance so that you could get some perspective on an issue, but maybe you stayed out a little too long. And now you're trying to come back, but it's been too long. Don't stop trying if you really believe in it. Don't be just, this is discouragement. This is discouraging energy. The Spirit is saying, don't stop now. Not when the possibility of this magical prosperity is a possibility for you, you know, like, don't stop now. Okay, you got discouraged. All right, let's be a Gemini about it. Like, okay, all right, let's be methodical and strategic about what our next move is going to be. The advice from Spirit. The Professor, the Hierophant card, number 5. The Great Teacher. So let me teach you about how you're going to bridge that gap. It's like working with me. Work with me, they're saying. Work with us. Work with your spirit guides, your spirit council. Work with the universe. Understand it in a rational way. Look, you got all your books here. Hermetic traditions, I just heard. Hermetic traditions. Esoteric traditions. You can study those too. Unlock, right? Queen of Swords wants the truth. Unlock the door to that truth through diligence and study. Those are things that you're good at, Gemini. We end on the 10 of Air, clarifying the Professor. This is the first time I've gotten this. You did get a lot of air energy in your reading, which is keeping in your element, but you got the 10 of Air and the 3 of Air. These are the hardest cards in the entire tarot. This one is the card of heartbreak. This one is the card of essentially just being flat on the ground. 10 swords in your back. Just, it can be a card of just the ultimate disappointment. Betrayal. It's taking place in a hospital scene, you know, it's just like dead, done, over with. Like, I just heard, are you going to be a statistic? Because I see all of these things like hanging up on the wall, the shears, which represent the swords in this suit. Are you just going to be another statistic? Are you just going to be, this is a harsh message, it's like, are you going to be another cliche? Or are you going to elevate yourself? and work with spirit and have that discipline, right? Hierophant is all about discipline, all about religious, spiritual authority, or authority of some type, right? In this deck, represented by the professor, by a teacher. How can you recover from this being on the ground? They're asking you to co-create with them. They're asking you to listen. Listen to your intuition. I know it's difficult because, you know, it's not to say that air signs don't listen to their intuition, but it's hard. It's harder for an air sign to listen to their intuition when their rational mind is so learned, so well adapted, well versed. How are you going to co-create with spirit? Wow, you got another 5. 5 of water in the reverse. That's good. You're changing your perspective on something that could have been quite depressing or melancholy. You're changing your perspective on that now. The curiosity of fire in reverse. This is the Page of Wands. It's about taking that first step, right? It's almost as if you did get this card in reverse. This was the very first card of your reading. It's almost as if you worked so hard to kind of stake your claim and this is mine now and I've conquered this. And now it just feels almost as if I've conquered it and all that I want to do now is leave. You know? There feels like there's a little bit of pride, a little bit of ego, just like, but I've invested so much, like I can't just step away from this. Well, but can't you? There are other adventures to be had. There are other, oh my God. You know how I was saying, maybe this wasn't in your reading, because I've done 2 readings so far today. In one of the readings, I talked about a group of 5 guys that walked by my window, which was probably 45 minutes ago at this point. That same group of guys walking in the same direction. It's like I live in a major city, but like there's no reason why anyone would have to walk down this street twice, unless you lived on the street, which they don't look like they do, right? You got 2 5s. There's something creepy and awesome about that. I think I talked about it in the Taurus reading. I'm getting the readings mixed up now, but that was so strange. That was almost like a glitch in the Matrix. And I'm gonna go see the Matrix this week, back on the big screen. That felt like a little bit of a glitch in the Matrix. But the fact that there are a group of 5 was the most significant part. That the 5s in the tarot are not my favorite, but they represent a state of transition. You're at a choice point where you can stay where you are or just choose to make that jump, to step out into something new. Okay, so that was I'm trying to ask Spirit if they want me to say anything more about that, other than the fact that it was strange, it was glitchy, it was, how is that same group of 5 guys walking? And they weren't walking it's like they didn't come this way and then walk back that way. They came in the same direction. Very strange. So if you see 3 3, 5 5, you got double 3s, double 5s here. Pay attention. Pay attention to the world around you. Try to get out of your own head for the moment. Ask Spirit, right, to show you. Spirit is showing you here. Ask Spirit to show you, to give you signs and synchronicities. That's your reading, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed it, something resonated for you. If it did, please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification if you would like updates as to when I post new readings. Thanks, Gemini.